Hey everyone, it's Rebecca. Welcome back to my channel. I've been uploading a lot of travel vlogs lately because I really miss traveling, but I'm back now with my August bullet journal setup. So grab your bullet journal, a snack, maybe a cup of water, then come chill and plan with me. I'm jumping right in with a watercolor painting of clouds during a sunset. I started out with a pale yellow wash on the paper because I wanted yellow to be the lightest color on the page. While I start adding pink, purple, and orange for the clouds, I want to explain a little bit further about this theme. If you read the descriptions of my latest videos, you might have noticed, but I've fallen into a little bit of a slump lately, which has caused me to feel extremely unmotivated and to have a creative block. I've always found that when I run into a creative block, that the best way to overcome it is to just go back to the basics and to choose something that I love. I knew when I started that I wanted my theme to surround the art from the music video 8 by IU and featuring Suga from BTS. If you don't know this yet, this song is titled 8 because the lyrics are the feelings of IU and Yoongi reflecting on life as 28-year-olds. Like last month, I came up with this idea because August is the 8th month of the year, so it felt fitting to choose 8 as the theme. This song also brings a set of comfort to me in this uncertain world right now, and it also helps that I love the art style of the music video in addition to loving the song itself. A lot of you know that I love BTS, but you may not know that I also love IU. I really love her music, but I also love her acting in dramas. She's the lead in Moonlover's Scarlet Heart Rio, which is one of my all-time favorite Korean dramas. Basically, she's just a multi-talented queen. Having Yoongi as part of the song was just a bonus, and I mean when you put two geniuses together, you get a beautiful collaboration of the year. The music video art is full of the colors purple, pink, and orange, which made me think of sunsets. Sunsets are one of my favorite things in the world, so I loved incorporating the colors of a sunset into this theme. It's also not completely a minimalistic design, but I did go for more of a simple setup this month. So in short, my theme for August is a more minimalist, sunset aesthetic inspired by the art from the 8 music video. Alright, so all of the colors I used are actually mixed from 6 colors, and you can find that information in the description down below. I tried to have the top of the clouds lighter, while the bottoms a little bit of the darker shades for the shadows. This also helped to achieve more of the gradient look that I wanted. This was a slow process because of all of the layers, and it was also a struggle because clouds are so deceptive. It seems like they'd be easy to paint, but it's honestly a lot harder than you'd think. I actually wasn't really happy with the hard edges of the paint at this point, so I took a very slightly wet brush and went back and forth over the page to help blend all of the colors together. After letting the layer dry, I drew the 8 logo sideways like it is on the album art, and then just used this clean and simple font to write out 8 to stand for the 8th month and also for the title of the song. I also ended up using this font throughout the rest of the setup. I finished off the cover by painting an airplane outline in the middle of the page using a shade of indigo. This airplane is like the one that flies over the clouds in the music video. Looking at the painting now, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I placed the painting under some heavy books so that it would dry flat while I started to work on the song lyric page. I knew I wanted to incorporate the lyrics from the song somewhere into these pages, so I decided to letter the song lyrics in a super minimalistic fashion. The lyrics, "So are you happy now?" are the first words sung in this song. The song sounds uplifting and makes you want to dance around, but the lyrics actually carry a sad meaning. IU has stated in an interview that this song is about a yearning that stems from returning to the same place and not being able to move on. So in these lyrics, I think she's reflecting on her life and her successes and wondering if she's truly happy. I took the painting out once it was done drying and cut off the borders before taping it into my journal. I am in love with how these pages turned out. Moving on, I decided to do a full monthly spread. I started out with writing August and the days of the week in the same font that I used on the cover. I decided to add a notes section to the empty space this month because I didn't plan on doing any extensive drawing. When drawing the calendar grid, I used a ruler to make all of my lines straight because your girl has a really unsteady hand. Even with a ruler though, I still overdrew one of the lines. Classic me. I'll show you how I covered that up later. As a continuation from the song lyrics on the previous page, I wrote the next line of the lyrics in the song at the bottom of this page, which were "Finally happy now?" Now, this next step is completely unnecessary and my perfectionism is showing, but I used washi tape to minimize overlapping the marker and to get really nice and smooth colored lines for the calendar. I think if I were to do this over, I would just try to do it freehand, but I was nervous that I wouldn't be able to control the tombos well, and I would color outside the line. I chose a different color for every line so that it would create a sunset gradient. I think one of my favorite sunsets is one that has a lot of purple and pink in it, but I also included yellow, orange, and blue to make this pretty color palette. I'll be referring to these 6 colors as the sunset colors for the rest of this video. Now, I would normally fix my mistakes with whiteout, but one of my problems with this notebook is that it's off-white, so whiteout is really noticeable on my pages. Instead, one of the ways that I fix my mistakes in my bullet journal is with washi tape. I chose a few tapes that matched the color scheme and placed them around the lyrics. I also cut out a piece of the gradient pattern paper and taped it in for where I'll be writing my notes. I added a bit more washi tape until I was satisfied. You could actually still see my mistake from under the washi tape, so I decided to just use my whiteout to cover the line a little more before placing the washi tape down. My expense tracker is the same as always, but for the title I used the same font as all of the titles before, but then I wrote the word tracker underneath it in cursive. I was thinking about using a ruler to make these lines straight, but I decided to be brave and to just go for it. I used the sunset colors to highlight every other line, but I started with the blue at the top and then moved down the page with a different color until I got to yellow. The habit tracker was pretty similar to the expense page, and I definitely immediately regretted my decision to write out the days for every single tracker. If you are trying to do this, I highly suggest you get one of those stamps that have the days already laid out. My hands started cramping towards the end, and I took a couple breaks, but we made it. I used the sunset colors to highlight the habit at the top of the tracker, and this time I went diagonally with the color gradient. We have 5 different weekly setups to do for this month. The first spread is very simple. I wrote out July and August, and I drew the outline of a plane that's going from July to August, because this week is the transition between the months. For the plane, I used the blue color from my color palette, and then I used the same diagonal gradient as I used on the habit tracker. Then I went back in and touched up the edges for each header. Finally, I wrote the date for each of the headers and then also left the last section for notes. I decided to tape in a square cut from the same gradient pattern paper that I had used for the notes section of the monthly layout. I went back in and added lines around the days to make them look more like a header, and then I added washi tape to the corners of the notes section so that it would look like it's taped into the journal. In hindsight, I would have moved the square for the notes section down a little bit more to make room for the washi tape, but it's fine. I like it. This next weekly spread is also minimalistic. I wrote the month at the top, and then I drew suns as the backgrounds for the days of the week. I use things about being under an orange sun, but if you look really closely in the music video, Ayu actually has this little spiral sun drawn near her eyes in one of the scenes. So that's where this sun comes from. After, I wrote the days of the week in the sun, and then I taped another piece of the pattern paper at the top for a notes section. I finished the spread off with some washi tape at the top of the notes section and then going across the bottom of the page. I feel like as I progressed through the weekly setups, I got more creative, so I decided to draw a little bit for this next spread. This is the moment in the music video where the cartoon Ayu takes a leap of faith off the cliff, but is caught by the dragon. I drew a circle for the sun and then drew the outline of a girl. I talked a little bit about this at the beginning of the video, but I think that this song reflects a bit about how I've been feeling in my slump. I want to get to a place of freedom where my creativity will flow, but I just haven't been able to move forward. I think my slump might partially be from quarantine or from overwork, but going through old video clips for my vlogs and pushing myself to do something creative like bullet journaling has been really helpful to me. I think starting is always the hardest part of getting over a slump, so like how this girl in the picture takes a leap of faith, I think I just needed to have more faith in what I was working on and the result would turn out just fine. But the most important part was to just start. I used the sunset colors to add the sections for each of the days, and then I decided to go in and draw an orange drop shadow around the girl with my highlighter. After, I just filled out the days of the week and the spread is done. For week 4, I drew the orange suns again with the rounded boxes of the different sunset colors for the sections of the days. I took a quick pause in doing the outlines in order to draw the outline of the lizard that turns into a dragon from the music video. This lizard is really significant in the music video because it is a symbol for the sudden farewells that happen in life. In the music video, IU wakes up in the middle of the storm to find that the lizard is missing, but she meets the lizard in the form of a dragon in her memories. I think that it's incredibly comforting because I actually lost one of my grandmas this past spring, and although it's painful, I know that she will continue to live on in my memories of her, and that one day I'll meet her again in heaven. All memories are powerful even if they're painful, and I believe that the Lord keeps these memories with us to help us in times where we need strength in the future. On the last weekly setup, I lettered the only other English lyrics in the song, which are Forever We Young. It sounds more like Forever We're Young though when IU sings it, because English. I used the pink and purple tambo for this lettering. A tip for hand lettering is to just take it really slow. For the days of the week, I did the orange sun and highlighted the days in the yellow and blue from the color palette. I first extended the lines of Forever to the edges of the page before adding a line of the washi tape above the lyrics to finish the spread. And now it's time for the final flip through. I hope that you've learned how much I love sunsets, clouds, and 8 by IU featuring Suga, and I hope that you'll go watch the music video now. The song is incredibly comforting and encouraging, and making this theme for my bullet journal really helped to pull me out of my creative slump. I have a video in the works about how I actually use my bullet journal, so be on the lookout for that. Also, let me know in the comments what you think of this theme, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!